From the most basic concepts to the utterly bizarre. Stay tuned to number 1 to find out 10 secrets to anti-aging. Number 10. Cryonics. One of the more out there methods that have come out of the anti-aging craze is that of cryonics, which is the process of freezing one's entire body so that when they awake, there will be a cure for the condition that they have, including aging. It may seem like something you'd see in a cheesy film, Austin Powers anyone? But many people have done this already, and if done right, it could technically work. But early cryonics experiments were fraught with problems, and just as bad, the constant maintaining of the body could backfire when they are awakened. And some even deny that the process will work at all, because the brain would keep working even though the body is on ice. But it was a thing, and is still in many ways. But trust me when I say this isn't the most out there anti-aging idea you'll see in this list. Number 9. Living. It may sound blunt, but the fact of the matter is, to have a long life, you just need to live. What does that mean? Well, think about it like this. There was a point in history where the average life expectancy was only around 30 years. That's not a long life. But when you consider what the world is now versus what it was back then, you start to understand how life got extended. There were all sorts of diseases and dangers that the world just couldn't handle, and that led to all sorts of early demises, including numerous ones at a very young age. When I said that the life expectancy was at 30, that's the average, which means that a lot of people passed away above 30, but just as many passed away below it. Fast forward a couple of hundred years, and humankind started to learn how to make life better. We drank water that was pure, we prepared our food in ways to make sure we wouldn't get sick off of them, and we found medicine that could treat or cure a lot of issues. So now, in 2019, living itself is an anti-aging solution, because if you play your cards right, you could live to be well over 100 years old. But that does beg the question, what are the cards that you can play? Number 8. Where you live. The world is a very big place, and it's no secret that some of these places are a bit better than others. For example, if you live in a big city, you have things that'll affect your health in a way that living on a farm will not. If you live in China, you might have to wear a mask to try and protect yourself from dangers that lurk in the air, as China has one of the most polluted skylines in the world. But in contrast, if you live in, say, Kansas, or in certain areas of Australia or Africa, where there aren't many big cities outside of key locations, that danger wouldn't be present. Where you live can help define your age, not just because of people or animals, but because of what you do in said cities or towns or farms that you go and live in. Think about it like this. If you work at a desk job in a big city and your routine is defined by your job, you'll live long, but it's a good bet that a more active person who lives on a farm and has a more natural routine may live even longer. Add to that, pollutants most definitely affect your body. So if you're in a place that has a lot of them, it'll hurt your life expectancy. So if you're looking for a place to go and live longer, you might have to look at your city and say, I need to move. Number 7. Diet and exercise. Before we talk about this big issue, take a moment to like this video and join the Zero to Hero community by using the buttons below. One of the more classic ways to defeat aging in the 1900s, when we actually started to care about such things, was the notion that diet and exercise was the best way to keep your body healthy. And if you stay healthy, you get to live longer. It's cliche, it's overdone, it's advertised to extremes, and it's actually very true. Our bodies are well-tuned organisms, but mankind has a notion that what's not good for you might be good for you, like smoking, drinking heavily, and often lounging about on couches all day watching football. Hey, I'm not judging, I do it too. And of course, eating food with lots of calories are just some of the things that'll ensure we won't live too long. And not even to the extent that we pass away at 70, but sometimes we can pass away from other diseases and conditions that are caused by such things. Heart attacks, lung disease, strokes, and more are more often than not lifestyle related. So eating healthy, eating right, exercising, and maintaining a good balance in your body is a great way to age more gracefully. A great example of this is NFL quarterback Tom Brady, who is over 40 years old, yet treats his body like a temple, and thus has allowed him to extend his career and continue to play at a high level despite his age. Granted, eating healthy and exercise doesn't guarantee a long life, but there are many examples of fit people who have lived beyond 100, so why not give it a chance? Number 6. Magic and deity. To some, especially in the world of entertainment, the idea of aging beyond what we're supposed to is not an act that humans are able to do. Thus, why there are so many horror stories that start out with a scientist trying to create eternal life and failing miserably. To that end, many people believe in items or myths that are said to create eternal life because, by that notion, it would not be a man-made endeavor, but rather one made by the world, by deity, or by magic. Such as the Fountain of Youth, which many people still search for to this day. Then there's the religion option, which states that God or gods, depending on the religion you believe in, are the true way to stop aging. In the Christian Bible, it's stated that Noah, who built the ark, was over 500 years old when he was charged by God to build the legendary boat, and was 600 when the floodwaters came, give or take. How could he have lived that long? Simple. His God made him that way. His grandfather lived to be 969 years old according to the Bible. So the idea of having a life nearly eternal is so appealing to some that they look to ideas and notions and deities beyond our world in search of answers. Number 5. Changing our cellular makeup. What if I told you we have been flawed since birth? No, I'm not being philosophical here. I'm honestly being truthful. The way aging works is that from the moment we're born, our cells multiply and then divide up to be multiplied again. This is a key part of human DNA. However, also from birth, our cells slowly start to make mistakes as they multiply. Changes in the DNA structure that make our cells start to hurt our bodies. It starts out really slow, but as we grow older, it becomes more prevalent, and by the time we reach old age, the damage is visible and evident, as you see with things such as wrinkly skin and gray hair. So certain scientists want to figure out a way to make it so that our cells don't make these errors. They want to preserve the process of cellular division in order to make sure that we don't age, or at the very least, don't age as quickly. It's an ongoing process, but it is intriguing nonetheless. And if it works, our life expectancy could go way up. Number 4. The Matrix. If you have ever watched the Matrix trilogy, it's said that humanity has become the unintentional servants of machines, and they use their bodies as batteries. You know what? I'll just get to the point here. The minds of the human are uploaded into the Matrix, a massive computer-generated system that is so real that they have no reason to think that they're plugged in. So there are some people who think that it's possible for a person to actually have their consciousness uploaded to a computer and thus keep them alive. And in theory, you could get multiple bodies to extend your lifespan as you just plug into them and live out your life before having your brain and consciousness put back into the computer. Believe it or not, this is not as out there of a theory as you might think though. A Discovery Channel special hosted by Mythbuster Adam Savage actually probed the idea of this. And scientists do think it's possible, given the right breakthroughs. But does this solve aging as a whole? Not quite. This is a cheat code, if you will, as your body would still age, but you technically would not, as long as your mind is preserved. Number 3. Tricking the body. As noted before, the body is a well-tuned machine, but like all machines, they can be tricked. Scientists have done experiments on certain animals in which they would give them a fake gene to make the body think that it wasn't getting enough food. In the body's view, the animal was starving. By doing that, the body doubled down on protecting itself, and the lifespan of these animals increased from 50 to 100%. So what did they do specifically? They limited the amount of insulin that the body created. A simple fix, but it led to longer life. While human trials aren't on the table just yet, and would be hard to test in certain obvious ways, it is very promising. For as a scientist noted on a Netflix series, Explained, if a simple pathway can be altered to change aging, we're in business. It's not foolproof, it's not immortality, but many think that the life expectancy of humans could jump big time because of this one discovery. Number 2. Preserving and erasing. I mentioned earlier that the cells in our bodies have errors in them and that we're trying to fix it so that these errors don't happen, and thus we don't age. But there's actually 2 different ways of doing that. One is to preserve the chromosomes that we have within us as they die when they lose a certain protection that they have in the form of telomeres. Every time a cell divides, the telomeres get smaller and smaller, and then when they're gone, so is the cell, and the aging process continues. So some scientists are trying to find a way to extend the life of these telomeres in order to make us live longer. Ironically, the answer may come from cancer cells, which have telomeres that are incredibly hard to get rid of. But there is another version of this tale, one involving the dead cells within our bodies. These cells don't just go away, and they actually don't stop working, they just don't move. In animal tests, flushing out these zombie cells, as they're referred to, extends life. As such, many are trying to figure out how to flush out these cells from the human body. Number 1. Medicine. This shouldn't be a surprise actually. The entire world is full of companies that are focused solely on finding ways to keep us alive longer. And yet, the consensus of many is that by taking certain kinds of drugs or medicine, we can make our bodies stronger and last longer. It may sound like science fiction, but it's more like science fact. In fact, there are some prescriptions on the market right now that scientists think could be modified in a way that could extend our life. Many feel that of all the ways we could get an extended life, it could be a game-changing medicine that is the catalyst for all of it. What do you think about these options? Do any of them scare you? Anything you'd be willing to try? Let us know in the comments below and take care.